Welcome back, all you fans of Justice League, to Justice League Revisited, as we blast our way through one of the greatest animated series ever. If you're a first-time listener, welcome. If you're a long-time listener, welcome back. I'm James Enstall, the host of Geek To Me Radio, one half of this podcast duo. The other half joining me on the other side of the Zoom screen from her palatial estate. Welcome, Susan Eisenberg. Pip, pip, Susan.
Hey, hi. You know, I hear my laugh on the episodes, and it's so loud, and I hope I maybe have to take it down a notch. But hello. Hello. How are you?
Oh, just cheerio, thanks. How are you?
I'm fine. Are we going to do this the whole episode?
Yes, we'll do it all in Cockney for the whole episode. It'll be great. James Sie joining us, which I'm excited about our guest today, James Sie.
Oh,
he does a
so
British
excited.
accent too, doesn't he?
I'm sure he does. After all, he is a voiceover, aficionado.
Sure.
And I am so excited he's going to be joining us. I met James a very long time ago when I was a guest on Jackie Chan Adventures, and he was the lead on that show. He was so brilliant. He voiced Jackie, for anyone who doesn't know. And I reached out to him and said, we're doing a podcast. I noticed your name in the credits a couple of times. You want to join us? And he said, absolutely. So I'm really looking forward to this. And I'm looking forward to diving into this episode because there was some good stuff here, and I look forward to revisiting it.
Yeah, so much good stuff. Obviously, for those of you listening, we're covering Ultimatum, in which James voiced Wind Dragon, one of the Ultimen. My gosh.
Get yourself together, man.
Sorry. So sorry. Apologies all around, yes. But he voiced, the amount of voices he's done, you mentioned Jackie Chan, obviously the lead for that series, 95 episodes of Jackie Chan, incredible. But he voiced a lot of other characters too. He did voice the Atom in Batman Brave and the Bold, which I want to ask him about that. Video games, cartoon series, movies. He's done a lot of stuff. I talked to him about some of his early IMDb stuff too that I was excited to see. So yeah, I'm thrilled that we've got him. This is a great get.
Well, thanks. No, it's it just goes to show you how sweet certain people are, that when you reach out to them and say, would you like to be a guest, or would you be a guest? They say, sure. Let me know what day works for you. And he's one of those people. I think pretty much everyone we've asked has just been so kind. So I say, let's bring him on. Let's get him out of that green room.
Let's do it. Welcoming him to the show for the first time, the voice of Wind Dragon, we have James Sie on. Thank you so much for being on the show this time.
Oh, I'm really glad to revisit this. I forgot. It was a really good episode and a really good role, and I had completely forgotten it. So thank you for letting me come back to it.
And look at him using revisit right out of the
unprompted.
I mean, come on, James.
I'm trying to work with you.
I love it. I love that. Thank you for doing this. We have a history. Obviously, we go back to Jackie Chan, where you voiced Jackie and I voiced Viper. And I have to tell you, I was so awed by you on that show.
Oh,
and
thanks.
That show was such a. We'll obviously talk about Justice League Unlimited in the episode, and we'll get to all the details about it. But I just wanted to say that I would go into those. What were they?
Sessions.
Thank you. Sessions.
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to buy a vowel. Sessions. And, it was just like I'd sit there and I'd watch you, and the whole cast was just brilliant. And, we would laugh so hard because the scripts were so damn funny.
They were good. Yeah.
And did you just audition for that job? Just like any job?
That was my first ever voiceover job.
Wow.
Really? And you were the lead?
My commercial agent said, oh, they're looking for a Jackie sound-alike. Maybe you're just going to do some scratch, or we don't know. So I listened to Rush Hour for about, 20 times. And then I got it. And it was really frightening because, everyone has always said voiceover is so hard to get into and all of that. So, and then we did it. And it's funny that you mentioned the sessions, because I had never done a show, right? And I was the head of the show, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I didn't know the protocol. So a lot of us were really new. I think Saab was pretty new. Jade was new. Toru was new. And so we were very like, okay, we have to do the episode. We would not fool around. We wouldn't talk. We would just do the episode, and be very professional. And it was only until later that I realized you really can screw around. Like that's part of the studio time, is that you're like bouncing off of people and you're being obnoxious, and then that feeds the energy.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know that at the time. So, but I'm glad that you had a good experience with it.
Well, I did, because I thought the show was brilliant, and also because I thought you were a genius. And Sue Blue was the voice director on that.
She was amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. And, it was just an I got to go in, do my little Viper thing, and then I'd go out. You were carrying the show.
But you were so good as Viper. I mean, so many, you were sexy, you were professional, you were authority kind of driven. It was great. And I think that if we had done the show now, there'd be a lot of Jackie Viper shipping. Don't you think?
Yeah, I do. Well, I thought there was. I thought. Yeah, there was.
What would be the ship name? Is it Jiper or Vacky? What are we doing?
If only the show were still going.
Jiper. I guess Jiper is kind of jaunty.
There you go.
But yeah, Viper was really a great character.
It was
fan favorite.
It was a great, and at Comic-Cons, people bring it up all the time. So many fans at the Comic-Cons, and that just makes me so happy, because I do have a picture of Viper on my table, and people see her all the time, and they see Jackie Chan Adventures, and they get excited, and they don't know that I did it, and that's always fun. And, like you, and I said, they were like, you are Viper, and I'm like, yeah, and then we talk about you, because a lot of people still to this day think that Jackie Chan voiced Jackie in the show.
Oh, that's a good compliment.
And I said, no, I mean, I'm so proud of you that you were able to pull that off in such a brilliant way, that you captured his innocence and his sweetness and his humor. And it was just an extraordinary character. And you did such a great job.
Thank you. It's the 25th anniversary this year.
Right.
It's amazing how old I am.
Well, you started when you were 15, right? So that's all.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks, James. See, this is why I love him as a co-host, James. This is what he does. This is the gold.
Did you ever get the chance to meet Jackie Chan and say, "Hey, I did the voice"?
Everybody asks me that, and no, I don't know why. He was just never around, So I have an autographed picture of him, but that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't know people were still watching it until I started doing conventions, and they would like have their mind blown, like, "Oh, you did, and the cabbage merchant is Jackie Chan," and they just kind of lose their shit.
Right, it's true, and that's Avatar. You're referring to the cabbage, right?
Merchant.
That's
guy.
right. The cat. Right. Yeah. And I promise we will get to Justice League Unlimited. But
sorry,
that cabbage merchant is such a big deal, because cabbage has become like, I see every other post of yours has cabbage in it. I'm like, what the heck is this? Can you just tell, like, how did that become such a big deal?
I have no idea. It really shows you that you can't plan on what characters are going to pop.
Okay.
It was just, originally, it was one of 3 characters I was doing, very incidental. Mm-hmm. I was the guard who earthbends the cabbage cart off, and then I was the cabbage merchant. That's how his voice was different, because I had to be the guard down here. So the cabbage merchant had to be a little different, And yeah, I thought it was just a one-off. And then Andrea said, "Oh, are you available to do the Cabbage Man?" And so and everybody got to be together, and they all, played off each other. And they'd be like, "Okay, come on in, James. Say your line." "My cabbages." "Okay, 3 more times." And then it was like, "Goodbye." So I never really interacted with anyone until, again, conventions. And then I found this great family of people. So
right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so, I love that. And that's Andrea Romano, for people who are listening, because, and then she cast you in this episode of Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
So how did that call come? Just out of the blue? Do you want to do a Justice League?
This was towards the end of the run of Jackie, and it was before Avatar. So I think it might have been one of the first times I worked with Andrea.
Right. Okay.
There might have been like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, maybe there. But anyway, it was. I realize now I should put pictures of that on my table.
Oh,
because he's a pretty good character. I don't remember too much about the audition, but I just remember being very intimidated when I got it, because there are all these heavy hitters. You all were such, pros. So
right, except that I talk about this all the time, that I was intimidated for the first 2 years of the show. I mean, I don't think I started to really breathe until year 3. I mean, it was just such an intimidating room. But
you had already kind of...
Yeah.
You were the Wonder Woman, right? For many years.
Right, but when I got Justice League, it was like my first... it was like for you with Jackie Chan, it was my first lead. Now, it's not just like you, because I had done a bunch of guest star things, but I had never been a lead. And everyone in that room was an on-camera actor. And I didn't do on camera. I just did voiceover. Right. So, and they all had like celebrity in a way that I didn't have celebrity. And it was very intimidating.
Really?
Yeah, very. I mean, I would get so anxious before I would go to the sessions. It's important to say things like this and to share things like this, because people think it's all like puff puff. We're just, it's all so blasé blasé. And it's not. It's nerve-wracking, and it's intimidating, and ultimately so satisfying and special, but it doesn't mean you don't have the other stuff too,
Oh, I think most of us have some kind of imposter syndrome.
Of course. Of course.
And was that the right way to do that line? Oh, I could have done it this way. And
right.
You're always second guessing yourself.
And you're in a room, with Unlimited and even Justice League, there were so many people in the room, and that was such a gift to be able to work with everybody. But I would never say that I was like this very natural actor. That's not, it doesn't come naturally to me. So you have to get past your own anxiety, like I said, and self-consciousness, and then learn how to have fun and relax into it. And I promise any day now I'll be able to do that.
No, but we're very alike in that, I'm not very good at the whole pre-taping banter. I don't have a Christopher Walken impression.
Right.
So,
oh gosh. Or
which
British.
Everybody does, right?
Everyone has that, and everyone does the accents. Let's show off our accents now.
Yes.
Oh, I can do this. Yeah. And they're brilliant. They're brilliant.
And they play off of each other so much. And I'm more, text-based, I guess.
Yeah, well, you're more introverted. And ironically,
absolutely.
So am I. I mean, people think I have this very outgoing personality, and I do. But I know that I'm much more of an introvert than an extrovert. So,
which is why this kind of job is so good for us. For introverts, we're mostly recording. It's just us and the sound people and the director, and there isn't that crowd usually. That crowd feeling that kind of makes us a little anxious.
Yes, absolutely. And anyway, James, my co-host, I didn't mean to shut you out of this conversation. Do you want to tell the kids what we're talking about today?
Yeah. So if you haven't already guessed, we are covering the episode Ultimatum, which is the 9th episode of the first season. The writers were the great Dwayne McDuffie, and of course, J.M. DeMatteis did the teleplay for this. We have the director as our friend now, Joaquim Dos Santos, who's joined us for a couple of episodes. The voice cast in this one is just beyond compare. We've got Scott Rummel back as Aquaman, George, and I had to listen because I didn't realize George voiced Bizarro. And when he does the "Here we come to save," I'm like, oh yeah, that's George. That's George. We obviously have Susan as Wonder Woman, Kevin Conroy as Batman. We have Grey Delisle as Downpour and Shifter. James Sie, our guest, as Wind Dragon. We have CCH Pounder, who just anytime I read a Suicide Squad comic, CCH Pounder is the voice I hear as Amanda Waller in my head. And she also voiced the character of Juice. Jennifer Hale back as Giganta. Tim Matheson as the evil Maxwell Lord. Not evil per se in this episode, but I'd say complicit, much more so in the comic books. And then Robert Foxworth as Emil Hamilton, head of Star Labs. So yeah, a stacked cast for sure.
Oh, you know what? Now I remember I had done episode 1 of this season.
Yes.
Just like, a general and
that's right.
guard. And I think that's maybe, because I did that, she knew me to do this. So I was very lucky.
And it's such a great point because, when you do a voiceover job in animation or even a game, they get you if like that one contract that you sign, you become available for 3 voices to do 3 voices. And so the fact that when they find somebody who can do, all these different characters and fairly effortlessly, they're like, okay, that's my person. We're going to have them back over and over and over again. And so I'm sure that experience led to your hiring a second time.
Yeah. And
which is brilliant.
And I don't know if you've talked about this, but working with Andrea is such a unique experience in that she's incredibly friendly and incredibly inventive, but she also knows what she wants. There's no fat going on. She, okay, do this again. No, give me a little this, 10% less, that kind of thing, which also can be really intimidating, but she's so good that you also feel inspired by her.
Absolutely. And it was intimidating. And, but there's a gentleness to it as well. Like, she's aware of who knows everything and like needs very little coaching and who needs a little extra coaching. And, like I remember those first ADR sessions, she was right there, like very much holding my hand, not literally, but figuratively. And I just felt very guided by her. But she was no nonsense. And you need to be in those rooms because otherwise you'll be listening
chaos.
to all the accents and, the impressions, and that's all voiceover, that's what they do.
Yeah,
So
she was very good at corralling people
Yes. Yep.
and then focusing them.
Yes, 100%, 100%. So when you watch this episode, and it's been a while, anything stand out for you? Like, what were your impressions?
I think my voice is probably, 2 octaves higher than it is now. Which is pretty high then, considering.
But you're also playing young. I mean, you were young, so you were probably lifting the voice a little bit.
Yeah. And yes, I probably
the character was young.
Yeah. And they're constantly referred to as kids.
Right.
So yeah, I think that probably informed that. But I forgot how much he goes through Wind Dragon. Like, he's kind of this nonchalant kind of, joking kind of guy. And then he goes from that to anger and then despair. And it's really, it really has, it's really got it all. And I wish I had appreciated it more at the time that these kind of roles don't come very often, this kind of meaty role, because they don't.
Right.
And so I'm really happy in retrospect that I got to play big with this.
Yeah, it's incredible how much the characters go through in such a short, these are not two-parters. These are one standalones. And you think, my God, there's so much story packed in to this episode, to every episode in Unlimited. I mean, it's remarkable.
The day that we're recording this is the just slightly before the premiere of James Gunn's Superman movie. And I love the fact that Wind Dragon is a Superman fan. He makes reference to that a couple times. Did you have, growing up, James, did you have a favorite comic book hero?
It wasn't Superman. I gravitated toward the X-Men.
Okay. Yeah, and Susan and I discussed that, how the Ultimen are kind of a little like the X-Men, this team that's formed together, because she mentioned, she says, why are they called the Ultimen? We've got some women in the group. I said, same thing with the X-Men, because there's Storm and Rogue and Dazzler, but they still call them the X-Men. It's just kind of a generic, I guess, thing. But that's funny that you were a Marvel guy, because you did several fantastic Marvel voices. Fin Fang Foom in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Sunfire and X-Men Legends. I mean, there were some fantastic characters you got to play. And I know we were talking before we started recording. You said you're much more of a DC Comics fan. DC is way better than Marvel. You said that, remember? It's for the podcast, James. Just go with it.
I'll take. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
But no, those were such fun characters. And, I know Bruce Timm. We've talked about that on this show. Bruce Timm was a Marvel kid growing up. He loved Marvel comics. And it's just kind of funny that now you're voicing all these fantastic characters in both the DC and the Marvel universes. It's kind of a fun thing, I would think, especially for a fan of X-Men growing up.
Well, to be completely honest, there were two things that got me into the DC universe. One of them was doing this show and then seeing all of these amazing characters. And then my son being of an age where he was ingesting these episodes, like, greedily, because he loved him. And, he had all of the giant figures, right? And so because of that, I watched a lot more. And so I became much more of a fan of the DC, the Justice League after that.
Yeah, it was weird because the Hasbro company, they made a lot of the Justice League figures, but they never made the Ultimen. They had like the Suicide Squad people, but they never made Ultimen. I was kind of like, oh, that's a missed opportunity, Hasbro, in case the execs are listening.
Yes, it can happen again.
Right.
It can happen now.
But I've seen some custom figures, because there are people who take the Justice League figures. My friend Keith loves doing this, and he'll make figures that they didn't make. And he actually I think he made a Long Shadow figure, and he was talking about wanting to do the entire line of Ultimen. I don't know that he ever got around to it, but have people brought you stuff at conventions from like, hey, look at this that you hadn't seen before toy-wise that you didn't know was out there?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen any Wind Dragon, but maybe it's because I need to put it out there. Maybe people don't know.
There you go. Yeah.
So I'm definitely getting a little 8x10 made of that guy.
Please.
And he's pretty buff. He's
yeah.
pretty,
Yeah.
It's a nice.
Obviously not skipping the traps or the delts on the workout day. He's
exactly. I like a perfect triangle. Right. I just love that. And of course, then I got even more into it with, Batman, the Brave and the Bold, because then I got to play the Atom, and that was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Yeah. So that was like hitting the big time with superheroes.
And such a different vibe, Brave and the Bold versus the Justice League. It was a much different, tonally, just a completely different shift, a little bit more tongue-in-cheek and campy. I don't want to say fun, but yeah, just kind of a lighter, more 60s style take.
A little more playful.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of playful, can we talk about the fact that we actually see the invisible jet in this episode?
I know.
Oh,
and there are just three things that jumped out at me that I just need to address immediately. Four things. One is that Wonder Woman's not that perceptive in this episode when she's like, "No, I think they're great. I think they're fine. There's nothing going on here. There are no issues with these kids. They're fine." And it's like, wow, Diana, open your eyes.
I think she's just being inclusive.
She didn't realize that there was another layer to this, that there was something wasn't right, something wasn't kosher. Not that she would have used that expression, but Susan can use it. But I love seeing the invisible jet. I loved when she gets like hit and she falls against the mountain and she, does that.
Yes.
And then she flips her hair, which was
I noticed that on the reading. I was like, look at that hair flip.
I
really
know.
Nice.
What is hello with the hair flip? That I can't take any credit for that. That's all Joaquim dos Santos. And then can we just please, before this episode ends, we need to talk about the whirly bat.
That was a weird choice when he's flying around with Aquaman up into
And people said that took. I read a little bit about that, and because it jumped out at me, and I was like, "What the heck is that?" I don't even know if you noticed it, James, because it was
when they're carrying him. It's
like a whirly bat, and the fans hated it. It was on screen for like 2 seconds, and I have to say, when I first saw it, I'm like, "What the heck is that carrying Batman? Like what?" I thought it was hysterical, and
it's a way of like, "Oh, we need to get him up there."
Right.
The whirly bat.
Right. The whirly bat. Oh, so that made me laugh literally out loud. And then one other thing I wanted to ask you guys, because it jumped out at me and it didn't, right? The Gigantopiece with Bizarro and Grodd, that seemed to come out of left field for me in this episode. And I didn't really understand. All of a sudden, Giganta's there. Did that jump out at you at all, or is that just me?
Not me. That seemed like the way they were kind of having something that would introduce Long Shadow kind of as a separate entity from the Ultimen. He did want to stand out. He did want to join the League. He was the one who kind of wanted to branch off from the group. And I think that having Giganta and Bizarro in there was just a way to facilitate that scene without having some kind of I was trying to think of a different way they could have done it. And I guess that's kind of the best way, because it seemed like someone else would have been with Wonder Woman. They wouldn't just say, hey, there's a breakout, Bizarro and Giganta, go take care of it. Seemed like John or Clark or someone else might have been there, but I think they needed that to position that relationship with Long Shadow and Wonder Woman.
There was a little bit of a flirty thing going on. Yeah. I mean, I think it was one-sided. I don't think Wonder Woman thought of it like that, but he seemed to be a little enamored.
A little bit.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
He likes the older women.
Right?
The teenage crush.
Yep. Somebody was just asking me about the age of Wonder Woman, if there was ever a specific age given to her. So that,
I think, about 320? I think, based on the when she was formed, and
that was my guess. Yeah, 320.
But she doesn't look a day over 250.
Not at all,
right?
No.
Yeah, you guys,
those Paradise
it's
Island
your nighttime
mud
regimen, So.
Okay, so what else do we think about this episode?
I love I got one of the best lines I've ever said, which was the old but spry, sir. Old but spry.
Written down right there.
It's one of my favorite lines. It's great. It's, you don't get to do that kind of, those kind of lines very often. So,
right. No, it's true. And that's, again, we'll mention Dwayne McDuffie and James DeMatteis wrote the episode. It's funny because I'm always a little jealous of like Michael Rosenflash's lines, the humor.
Right.
It's so fun to play that. And like you said, it's rare that you get to do clever and humorous. And so when you have those lines, you just, they're just delicious.
Especially in this series, because it's very, earnest in many ways.
Yes.
So,
and my character wasn't that. She was other things, but she wasn't going to bring the funny. I mean, she didn't bring the funny. So when I get to have one or two zingers or funny something, it's just like, I love that stuff, So
wonderful.
you that was a very good line that you had.
I think the fact that Superman even calls out how corny some of the lines that Wind Dragon is doing. Superman's the one calling you out as corny. It's like, wow, that's quite the bar.
Yeah,
exactly. If Superman thinks you're corny, you're probably really corny.
Did Andrea give you any specific when you're doing lines like those, like old but spry, or when you're delivering your speech that's, hey, we're we're tampering with people. They didn't think there'd be people living there. And as much as we want the environment to grow, the very earnest speech you're giving do you remember any specific direction from you? Because that could have been played pretty far one way or the other, James. Do you remember any specific direction from Andre on that?
I just remember that she actually pulled me back, right? Oh. So I was a lot more pontificating, and she wanted it just a little more real. Mm-hmm. So, and that was nice. I have I think once I was doing a voice class, and the casting director / teacher said to me, "You always give 150%. But the problem is I only need 100. And that was a really good note. Uh-huh. Like, you need to find that balance between making it interesting, but not making it like exhausting to hear. So she was really good at saying, let's ground it. Okay, give it to me a little more. You're feeling it this way. You're feeling it that way. And so I think that's mostly what I remember.
I think most of our direction was that, she always wanted everything to be more real. I mean, that was Bruce. Bruce was so aware that he didn't want to make it like Super Friends. So like they were both on that page of like never be too big. That was always something, but I've heard directors also say that they want the actors to be big, and then they, as a director, they can bring them down. They want people to come in, guns a-blazing, so that they bring all that energy, and then the director will take it down a few notches. So I think it's great that you come in 150 and that you got that note, because
it was a good note.
It's easier to, I think, take somebody down a few notches than say, no, build.
Right.
So it's, I thought you were perfect in this part. And I don't think I would have known it was you. That's like what's so crazy also. That it was just really, really well done. I thought it was I think all of them were great voice casts. But I just thought, this was a terrific cast, and everyone did such a great job.
And I didn't remember that Gray did both of the twins. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, because she's super talented. We were hoping to get Gray on today, and we still may, but she's literally just got back from Europe, and she went right into a session, and she said she has like a very short break, and if she can pop on, she will. So I keep looking to see if she's going to be on, but she may just have to go right to her next gig, because that's how she is booked and blessed. Yes, she is. Deservedly so. Yes, 100%. 100%. And Professor Hamilton, he comes back, right? We're going to see him down the road. Is that true?
Yeah, Professor Hamilton, and obviously Amanda Waller, because this is kind of that first hint that we get of the Cadmus arc that kind of permeates Unlimited, which broke my heart, that because I remember Emil Hamilton from the comic books, and he was always, hey, Superman, you've got your powers stolen, here, I'll build you this exoskeleton which will amplify your strength, or, oh, Superman suffering from some kind of kryptonite sickness, here's this treatment we can give him to, and he was always the good guy. And the fact that Justice League Unlimited made him the bad guy, and you get that reveal that he's behind the Supergirl clone, and he's behind Cadmus, is like, oh my gosh, that's just, it was shocking for me as a DC Comics fan. It made it more interesting, sure, but it was a little heartbreaking too.
Well, it's a massive betrayal, massive. And, we thought Hawkgirl was bad. I mean, settle down.
And she was, let's not pretend.
She was bad. But I mean, this, we'll wait till we get further down the road. But it's setting the stage for this Project Cadmus. And it was such a treat to see Amanda Waller on the scene. Oh my gosh,
and
I hear that voice.
I remember CCH Pounder, she had a role in the John Travolta Nicolas Cage movie Face Off. And I kept thinking to myself, because she was one of the agents who was responsible for the transition, and she was one of the people who knew about what they were doing with the swapping. Why didn't they cast her as live action Amanda Waller? She could have pulled it off really well. She's got the demeanor for it. And I always, again, to take nothing away, obviously, from Viola Davis, because how brilliant is she? But then you got the voice and the actual person is like, why don't they cast Clancy Brown as Lex Luthor, for crying out loud? Things I never understand, but that's just me.
No, I think
did you listen to The Shield, or did you watch The Shield?
Yes. Yeah.
She is so amazing in that.
Yeah.
I love her so much.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get CCH Pounder on at some point so we can share our admiration for how good she is.
Yeah, she's on a wish list.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for sure. I'm telling you, it's not easy to get some people because they're hard to find, they're hard to reach, and you want the show to have mattered to them in such a way that they're like, I would love to come on and talk about that experience. But, with big film stars or big TV stars, their resumes are so, crowded with credits that, you just...
but sometimes this series does mean a lot to, even if they get to be big or they were big when they brought on the role, because I love to tell this story. Susan, if I've told you this before, don't stop me because I want to hear it again. There's I was at a Comic-Con and Nathan Fillion's at Dragon Con in Atlanta, and everyone's bringing him, castle stuff to sign, and he's signing this and that. And I was the only person. I plunked down a vigilante figure in front of him. He goes, oh, and he taps his agent on the arm. She says, look, I've never signed one of these before. And just the fact that he was so excited, he remembered voicing the character. He was visibly startled by how cool this was. And he shook my hand and goes, thank you, man. Thank you. So it does mean a lot. This series is so important to even big shots like Nathan Fillion.
I have something, I don't know. You could cut it out if you want. But in watching the episode, and when Amanda comes in with all of the guys with their guns, and they're like, no, we're taking these people. It really kind of sent a shiver down my spine because of what's going on in Los Angeles right now. And it was like, oh, yes, life is imitating art right now.
It's interesting you say that because we've had several episodes where we say, okay, and the show was done 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And you just think, wow. I mean, it's uncanny sometimes in a very frightening way how some of these shows have really mirrored what we're seeing in life.
Yeah, we talked about it with Hawk and Dove, the two countries fighting. It's just,
Yep. And so, I thought the exact same thing, James.
Yeah, it was scary.
It is.
And it does
it very much is.
The connections in my brain, which are purely there for pop culture references, I couldn't help but think of Blade Runner, the replicants that are built with a 10-year lifespan, and that's all they know. And I thought of Roy Batty's monologue that he gives, I'll be forgotten like tears in the rain. All my memories will be lost. And I kept thinking, gosh, that's what these Ultimen must feel, because finding out, you've only been alive for 2 years, stuffed with 17, 18 years of memory, only to be treated as property by the government, but they are sentient beings, and there's so many ethical questions that, that brings up. And it just, like I said, my pop culture parts of my brain started buzzing and lighting up because I'm thinking about Blade Runner, and I'm thinking about the Star Trek has done episodes like that. And that is a theme that's carried in essentially a kid's show like Justice League, and it makes people think. And I think that's one of the reasons this show is so wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we say that all the time, that it just, it's lasted because it wasn't simple.
Right.
I mean, there were layers to it, and those layers really touch people's lives, and they still do. I mean, even people are still watching the show, thankfully.
So can I ask a question for you two experts?
Yes.
Does Long Shadow we ever find out what happens to him?
Oh, wait, let's clarify, James. I'm not an expert. James, my co-host, is. That's why he's such a perfect co-host for this show, because I know nothing about this world, like so little, so little. I've tried to educate myself, but there are times literally where we'll have a guest on, and James and the guest will go so deep into the weeds. And I am just, you can see, I mean, we're not videotaping it, but you should see my face. Like, I'm completely and totally lost as to what they're talking about. So you want to address all those questions to my co-host, James Enstall. Thank you.
No, Long Shadow does not show up again. The other Ultimen do, because there's a scene when they launch just like there's like 50 wind dragons and 50 downpours, and the Cadmus launches them at the Justice League, and they aren't even like the quippy teens we see in this. They're more mindless. We're sending these clones that have powers out to take down the Justice League and attack the Watchtower. I think it might be season 2, but they never show Long Shadow, which makes me think that they did welcome into the Justice League. He lived out however long he had as a League member on the Watchtower, and they didn't, Cadmus, for whatever reason, whether out of respect or the fact that they needed his genetic material from that clone that was fading to make a new one. But so Long Shadow's the one that doesn't reappear.
Oh.
Yeah, when I did some reading on the episode, and they said that you just have to assume that he passed.
Of course, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or that he's living in a farm upstate.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
Right.
you. Look at you.
With a big field. And,
Oh, silver lining. And I have to say, when Amanda Waller says to Batman, when she calls him Rich Boy,
The look on his face.
and you that was so brilliant, that expression, because it's like, how do you know
Right.
who I am? And it was dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I've
it
got
was
that
so great.
written
Love
down
that
there, too.
moment.
But I did like that line when, she tells all of her guards, safeties, and they all pull their weapons. And then Superman and Aquaman step in. The line that Kevin delivers so perfectly, mine are bigger. Just, it was a perfect line by Kevin yet again.
I know. And it was so great to see Aquaman, because I'm a huge fan of Scott's. But more than that, in addition to that, I love the character. And, as I've learned since, he was in the original Justice League. Like, he was one of the main figures.
Yeah, founding member.
Right. So interesting that he kind of is in there for this episode. Hawkgirl obviously isn't there. And so I like him being around. I think he brings a lot to the Justice League. I really do.
But I did notice that he looks much more mature than current Aquaman, who are more young and brash. And this guy's like, he's weathered. Yeah.
Yeah. This was based on that 90s comic book writer. And again, I'm sorry for getting in the weeds. Peter David in 93, 94, when they revamped a lot of the characters for Justice League and the DC universe in general, they made him a little bit more upgrade. This was the time when Bruce Wayne got his back broken by Bane, and there was a different Batman. Diana was not Wonder Woman. She was off as Diana, and they had a different Wonder Woman, and Superman was 4 different people pretending to be Superman because Clark had just died. So in Aquaman, they redid this whole thing where he got his hand cut off. That's why he had the hook, and he went with the longer hair. And that was the kind of the Aquaman of the 90s, which was still around by the time they started doing Justice League.
Ah, okay.
He's back to the short cropped blonde hair and orange shirt look that we all know and love now. So, but
yeah, and I think that's when I was a kid. That was
the look.
That was the Aquaman I knew.
Yeah. And I love the fact that this was they leaned into a little bit of the Super Friends, because obviously it's been mentioned, I'm sure, many times, and fans of the series will know that Wind Dragon was kind of the stand-in for the character Samurai in the Superpowers and Super Friends team. They had the Wonder Twins, Zan and Jaina, kind of had Downpour and Shifter as them. Long Shadow was actually a character called Apache Chief. And Juice was a character called Black Vulcan, who appeared in the Super Friends from Hanna-Barbera. And the fact that they kind of updated them, made them more modern, was a really nice little tribute to all of us who grew up as tiny kids eating our, Cookie Crisp cereal in front of the TV on Saturday morning. So.
Wow. You're right, Susan.
I know.
You could have gone out for coffee. Come back.
I'm so proud. And yet I have no idea what he's saying. I have no idea.
Hanna-Barbera? You've never heard of
No, of course
I know.
have.
I'm teasing.
No, and I actually did read a little bit about that, and the appearance of characters and Super Friends and the connection with these characters, and it's like an homage to some of these characters. So I wasn't completely and totally lost with what you were saying, just partially. And I'm glad there's a witness to it. Thank you, James S.
It's all the different voice roles you've taken on, James. We've already mentioned several of them. Do you have any that you found more challenging than others? Were there times when you're like, "Ooh, this is a hard one to get my arms around this character? Or is it just something like you didn't enjoy doing video games as much as the not live action, but the animated series? What has challenged you the most as a voice actor in your career?
I think that technically the thing that was hard was doing Professor Hojo in the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just because it's technically really, really intricate, in which you don't have to be an exact copy of the Japanese voice, but the timing has to be the same. And they just do it in a very different way. So that's challenging that way. But otherwise, I think I'd play a giant panda in Stillwater, right? And it was really hard to find that balance between, you want to make them very caring and loving, but you can't be too, kind of sonorous. You have to be playful. And they had two kind of, we want him to be playful and childlike, but we also want him to impart wisdom and be, so to be this wise panda. So finding that was really hard. Yeah.
And it had so many great roles, not just the ones that we mentioned and the ones that you mentioned, but just all the acting stuff. And just early on in your career, doing the live action stuff that you've done too, it was such a treat going through your IMDb resume to prepare for this. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Like the fact that you had a role in U.S. Marshals, and I'm like, he got to work with Tommy Lee Jones. He got to work, that early on in your career too, to have a part in a big blockbuster, because that was a big deal. The sequel to The Fugitive. I mean, that was such a big deal to be in that, I would assume.
Okay, this is a perfect circling back moment. That movie, I auditioned as like the baby-faced prisoner killer, right? Because I was really young. But the director really was not into me. And it was like, can't we make him tougher? He needs to be tougher. What can we do? He's just too young. And so I did what I could. But then it's the premiere. I'm going to what was Grauman's Chinese Theater. I'm so excited. My first big studio role. And I'm sitting with my sister. And, here I am. I'm coming on. And out of my mouth comes what sounds like B. Arthur with a cold. So they were like, hey, I got to go to the can. And so they had completely redubbed me.
Oh, my gosh.
And yes, it was devastating at the time.
Oh, my God. I feel devastated now just hearing that because.
But it's so ironic that now I'm doing voiceovers. So full circle.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's true. And I'm surprised you didn't say that Jackie Chan was challenging, only because I would think it is so specific. Like you're doing an actual person that people know what he sounds like. And yet I don't remember ever, I mean, I wasn't there for that many sessions, but I don't remember ever, you never lost that voice. Like you always had that character. How did you get him? Like aside from listening to him, but like before you would go into the session, was there something, a line or something that kind of brought you right into Jackie?
Look at the picture. Look at the picture. I don't care about you. I don't care about them. All I care about is the little girl. Where is she? That's the thing that I would always say before.
I just got chills.
So good.
I have to say, Jackie Chan has been very, very good for my career, So keep working, Jackie. Keep working.
Yes, no question. Oh my gosh. And I'm sure they can call you, they have you on speed dial if they ever need any ADR, which is brilliant to have somebody who has worked as that character for such a long time.
And now that he's older and I'm older, it's, we're aging together. So
wow, that's
works.
Lovely. That's lovely. Well, James, do you have any more questions for James?
I have a ton, but I also don't want to keep him for 2 hours. So we can put a pin in here. I think this is a nice area we can start to wrap up.
Okay. Well, I want for for the fans out there and for the people who like want to know what's happening with you, are there things that you want people to be aware of in terms of and I know we can't talk about certain things, but are there any projects, books, anything that you want to say, hey, I take a look at this if you're a fan? We would love to, help you get the word out on that.
Well, I'm on Instagram mostly, so you can find out what I'm doing there. I do have a convention in December in Rhode Island.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay, great.
Susan, you need to do it too, so we can actually see each other in person.
And that's my home state. Oh. And I grew up in Rhode Island, and I've never been invited, and I am dying to go. Yeah, it's my hometown, Providence.
Let's make it happen.
Okay,
Come on.
Okay, you talk to your people, have them talk to them. I would love to do it, but I think it's wonderful that you're going, and that's fantastic. So that's in December.
Yeah, and given the current state of the world, I did write a book called All Kinds of Other, which is a young adult kind of coming of age story about the relationship between a cis gay boy and a trans gay boy. And it would be nice, if people wanted to check it out, that they would see how far we've come and then how far we've moved back.
Right. Yeah. And so how do people find the book? Is it
it's on Amazon?
Okay,
well,
terrific.
Not that we wanted. No, it's in any, you can order it from any.
Get your local bookstore. That's what we always say.
Local bookstore.
If your local bookstore doesn't carry it, usually if you ask for one of the managers, say, hey, I'm looking for this book, normally they can order it in. That's never a problem.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Great point. Thank you for the correction on that. Thank you. Okay, so you're an Instagram person. That's great. All right, so...
Thank you for having me. This has been really fun.
Thank you for doing this. We follow each other on Instagram. You sent me that incredible picture of Jackie, of Jackie and of the cast. And it was just so beautiful to get that. And, I just, as you can tell, I just am such a fan of yours. And I think you're just the sweetest man. So thank you for saying yes when I reached out to you. And, I wish you all the best. All the best.
For you, Susan, anything.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. James, isn't he everything I said he was?
And more, I got to say. I'm duly impressed. I was impressed, like I said, looking over the resume. I was excited to talk to him. But now that I've gotten the chance to meet him, I'm a huge fan as well. So,
I'm really glad to meet you.
And we'll make sure that we get the word out about the book. If you're on Instagram, why aren't you following James Sie already? We'll get more people over there for that too.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. Well, thank you, James. And you have a great day. And I'll hopefully see you soon at a con.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right. Bye.
There he goes. A very talented guy. Glad to have him on. James Sie, the voice of Winddragon for Ultimatum and Jackie Chan and so many others. Wow. What a guy.
Isn't he a sweetheart?
Yes.
I knew you'd like him. I knew you would. And it's sweet to be able to introduce you and have them meet you because, you're a geek extraordinaire, if I may. And, he was impressed with all that knowledge. You did good. I like when you have somebody to talk to that knows, that you can speak because you speak the same language as opposed to me who's like, what? So I love that. And he's a delightful person. He's a kind person. And it was just fun talking to him. And I haven't seen him as we said, we catch up on Instagram, but I haven't seen that sweet face of his for a very long time. So that was a joy.
Yeah, no, that was great. It'd be fun if you can somehow make that convention up in Rhode Island he was talking about. That'd be great to have a little mini Jackie Chan reunion, if nothing else.
I know. I'd love to. I mean, I've put it out in the universe. I'm hoping somebody, Rhode Island Comic Con, hello. But yeah, I mean, he's just, and he's so prolific. I mean, he does voice for animation. He does video games. He's a writer. Yeah. He wrote a book called All Kinds of Other that he mentioned. And, I love that. And he's just one of the good ones. That's all I can say. But I really enjoyed going over this episode because he really enjoyed the experience. And I think he got a kick out of seeing it again.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I like when they watch they seem like this joyous smile comes over their face when they're, oh my gosh, and the line I got to deliver, like he was very happy with the line.
I know.
Old but spry, sir. But just that they get so much into it, and I think that's great.
It is. It's great. And, that was a good one. And I'm thrilled and delighted that he came and joined us. And as soon as we're done talking here, yakking here, I'll go send him a thank you note.
Perfect. Well, let's not delay the thank you note. We'll go ahead and quit yakking. Why don't you tell people where they can find you on the interwebs?
Well, Susan Eisenberg Voice is the website, and Susan Eisenberg number 1 is where I am on Blue Sky and Instagram these days. And look forward to hearing how people think about what they think about this podcast. We would love for you to subscribe if you haven't. We would love for you to leave a review if you haven't. Please tell us what you think, because otherwise it's like, we want the feedback. It's so important for us to get that. So it's a joy for us to do it, but we really, really want to know what you think about it and if you're enjoying listening to it. So, and what about you, sir? Kind sir.
Well, for me, madam, we're doing the British accents again. I forget we're
But I'm doing upper crust and you're doing comedy.
Sorry, mate. I'll try. I'll change everything to a little more London-like. Is that better?
Why, thank you, sir.
Not at all, madam. Yes, accents aside, yes, you can find me every Sunday night at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on Geek To Me Radio, a live radio show. If you're not in the greater St. Louis area to listen to us on 5:50 a.m., that's okay because we stream it online. Facebook.com/Geek To Me Radio, YouTube.com/Geek To Me Radio. And we also on YouTube have all the back catalog of the episodes we've done in the past, where Susan has joined me, Carl Lumley has joined me, Michael Rosenbaum has joined me, Maria Canals-Barrera has joined me. We've got some great episodes with Kevin. I was going back and listening to one a couple days ago. Just, I forget he's gone sometimes. He's
of course.
Such an amazing person. But then you can also follow me on social medias at Geek To Me Radio on Twitter and Instagram, and Threads are where I'm mostly active. So hopefully you'll check us out there. I think when this is airing, I can go ahead and announce, too, if you were a fan of Two Rivers Comic Con, where you got to meet Susan and Carl and Maria and Phil, we are announcing as our special guest, Andrea Romano is going to join us at Two Rivers Comic Con.
Woo! So that's exciting.
Yeah, if you haven't had a chance to meet Andrea, make sure you make plans to visit St. Louis/Historic St. Charles, April 25th and 26th of 2026. Your chance to get your Justice League merch, or your DuckTales merch, your Voltron merch.
Oh, God, don't
merch,
even.
Your Batman Animated Series merch. It's crazy. But yeah, we'll have Andrea Romano will be there to meet and greet all the fans.
So she's your first announcement. You're going to roll out your other announcements for your guests?
Yeah, we've got a couple announcements on the way here. But I want to figure, since this is a Justice League podcast, I'll go ahead and make that announcement. So it's just between us fans. So don't, actually, no, spread it around. I don't care who you tell.
Tell everyone.
That's right.
All right. Well, listen, look at us with another one in the books. And I just have to say one thing about Kevin, because, in my downtime, I love to watch my old soaps. And I'm a huge fan of Another World, which has been gone for forever. And Kevin was on Another World. And sometimes when I watch the old episodes, I see him. And what's really fun is I look at the comments and people are like, holy smokes. Oh, my God. That's the guy who did Batman. Batman started in soap operas. And it's like, oh, so sweet, so sweet. But anyway, kids, we're going to call it a day, and we thank you for joining us as always. And that's another one in the can for us. And just please stay tuned, because the conversation continues.